Okay, let's take our grade calculation program and we're going to break it. So I'll do a file save as, and I'll call this grades broke one. I'm going to save this as grades broke two. Well, let's open up grades broke one, and we'll play with it first. Oh, it's running. Why wasn't appearing? There it is. So grades broke one. Okay, get element by ID. So I changed that to lowercase e. And let's come here and GAD calculate grade. So we've got some problems here. Okay, and this is we're going to look at this in Google Chrome. Okay, so I right click on this and I'll say open with Google Chrome. Okay, and I put in my grades and I click calculate. Doesn't feel like it does anything. Well, in Google Chrome, if you come over here and do the drop down, if you go under more tools and then you go into developer tools. Okay, I think it comes up as under the elements link right here. Elements refers to each individual one here. You can put your mouse over it and see what it's referring to. Probably not that informative. But if I go to console, this will tell you where some of your errors are. See, it says uncaught reference error. Calculate grade is not defined. And I don't know if I can make that any bigger so you can see it. Okay, there, yeah. If you click see the 46 refers to the line number. And it comes down here, and where it tells you the line number is at may not actually be where the error is. See, it says it's right here. Well, all that is a greater than. Can't be wrong. But if you see the line right above it is broken. Now there's different options you can do up here, and we'll look at more of those as time goes on. But this tells you one error. Okay, so that's curious because remember how many errors we put in there? We put 3 errors in there, didn't we? Now I'm going to go and fix that. So I'll go to Notepad here, and I'll put the T back in there, and then save it. Okay, refresh that. Put some more more grade in here. Click calculate. It doesn't work. Notice I got a little red X right here. It says there's another error. If I go to console, uncaught type error, document.getElementById is not a function. Sometimes the error won't be real apparent, but it'll at least tell you where to go look. And see, it says getElementById, and we know that E should be uppercase. I can see that from the ones above it. So let's go change that. Get element. There we go. Now let me refresh this and put some more grades in here. Click calculate. Got another error. Well, it may seem kind of tedious, but at least it's a way to figure out what's wrong. It says type error cannot set property value. Tells us 35, so if I go there, you'd be looking at it and thinking, okay, document.getElementById, that's right, value, grade, and you're thinking, there's nothing wrong with that. It may actually be this right here. Remember what that's referred to? I screwed up the name of that. But it's got the little red squiggly under this part over here. Well, let's go change grade back to grade. There we go. So now if I refresh this, it's got 90, 92, 95, 90. Click calculate. And it's working. And if I go to console now, I don't see any errors. So if you have some errors in your JavaScript, if you're using Google Chrome, then you can use that to help you. Why didn't I show this earlier? You really need to develop the technique of eyeballing your code and looking for errors, because you will not always, going in the computer science field, you will not always have access to a nice interactive development environment that helps you with debugging it. Another part that I've never put into the courses before is figuring out what somebody else has done wrong. That's probably harder than anything. Looking at what somebody else has written and understanding their mindset when they were going through programming it, and figure out where it's going to skew. I'll eventually put that into the courses, but that's harder. That's peer activity of some sort to look at somebody else's code and figure out what's wrong. Okay, well that's our first one. So let's go break our second one. So I'm going to open, change this to all files, and this one, and I'm going to get rid of these else's in here. Now I'm not going to actually correct this, because we know what well, maybe I will. There we go. So now let's bring this one up. So I'm going to right click and open with Google Chrome. And put 90 in here, 92, 95, 90. And I click calculate. Doesn't mean my letter grade is a D. Worked fine, just didn't work. So I come over here to More Tools, go to Developer Tools. If I go to Console, then you see there's no errors, so that appears okay. If I come here to Elements, that doesn't really help me a whole lot. If I go to Sources, it says hit Control P to open a file, or you can just click this file here and open it up. And there's a debugging tool technique. Go way fast. There's a debugging technique that'll help you figure out where you're going wrong. It's called the idea of putting a breakpoint in. And you see it says breakpoints down here. And I'm going to put a breakpoint on this first line. Test1 equals parse float. Now when I say put a breakpoint, I'll click to the left of the 8, that line number, and it puts a breakpoint there. Well, what does that do? Well, now if I run this, if I click calculate, it'll pause on that line that we just did. I may have to make this smaller. Make it a little bit smaller. Hide Navigator. Let's hide Navigator. Yeah, a little bit better. Not perfect though. Okay. Now I'm sitting here right here. I've broke out of that. Where's my breakpoints at? Or where's my? Let me put a Navigator back. Okay. There it is. I'm just going to have to resize, I guess. Got all my variables up here. Test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4. If I put my mouse over test 1, it tells me it's undefined. Test 2 tells me undefined. All these have not been assigned values yet. Now, and I swore before I hit the Navigator, this was down here. an earlier problem, but we see that across the top here you have some different functions. The one we're specifically going to use a lot is the F11. It says step into the next function call. You can actually click this button or press F11. I'm going to press F11 so we can see this. Okay, so if I'm over here, I press F11, it'll run that line of code. Now if I put my mouse over the test 1, see how it now says it's equal to 90. And over here, you see there's a local and call stack and so forth. Under local, it says test 1 is equal to 90. So you can actually see the value of the variable as you're running it. Now if I come back over here, I press F11. Test 2 is 92. Again, if I put my mouse over that, it says 92, and I can see the value over here. I do F11 again, F11 again, F11 again. And you see it says total is 367. F11 again, and we got percentage 91.75. Grade is still undefined because we haven't set it equal to anything. But even more than that, you see in the sequencing as it's going through my code. Now if I press F11 again, so I'm come down and check this. Now if I press F11 one more time, it comes down here, and you're thinking, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. If I put my mouse over percentage, it says it's 91.75, which is greater than or equal to 90, so it should be in there. So you press F11 again, and now you see your value of grade is equal to A, whether you look over here or whether you look in your code. I press F11 again, and you think, whoa, wasn't supposed to do that. After it did grade, I didn't want it to go through and assign grade to B also. So you see where your issue is then. So you think, okay, well, I'm gonna go change that, and let's go put an else there. It's like, okay, I see, that should be an else. If I come over here, refresh this, you see it's paused in debugger. You can also oh, it moved it down here. I guess it moves it wherever's appropriate. You see there's deactivate, breakpoint, step out of current function, step in, step over, resume script execution. Well, if I did do that, it finishes. Now I can clear this breakpoint by clicking there again. That's up the way I would recommend. But it looks like down here there's an option, deactivate breakpoints. That leaves them there, but deactivates them. But anyway, I want to clear away. Okay. So now I've changed this, so I need to refresh. 90, 92, 95, 90. Click calculate. It says my grade is still D. Okay, you're thinking, I thought I fixed that silly problem. Come over here. And I need to put my breakpoint in, so I'll click here, and then I'll come and click the button again. Now I do F11. You get used to these windows popping up. Some of them are useful, some of them don't mean anything. Comes down here, hits grade. Okay, that works perfect. Comes down, and it's not even checking this, but then it checks this, and you're thinking, well, that's not right. I don't want to check that, and then you realize that this should also be an else. And then this should also be an else. So you're starting to see what's going on with your code. Okay, so now if I where in the world's it at? Oh, up here now. That's gonna throw me out. It keeps jumping around. Resume script execution, and I need to refresh it. So come refresh this. Put my values in here again. You almost need a pretty good sized monitor to really do this well. Click calculate. And then I hit F11, go through those, hit that. Then it drops down to here. This also helps you to understand how an if-else statement works. So you can put a breakpoint in there and just follow it through. Comes down here, hits that line of code, and then returns the result here. Now to close your debugging window in Chrome, you just simply click this X up here. Now there's a lot of different topics you can do in this. I'm just giving you a real brief overview. The goal here is not to make you an expert on the debugging tools of Google Chrome, but just to give you the basics you need to help you figure out what's going on with your web pages. Now, if you're going to do this for a living and you decide you're going to use Google Chrome, you probably want to get used to know what all these different items mean. Okay, so I'm going to close that, and that's debugging Google Chrome. Now, specifically, I don't know what version I'm on. Version 48. Wow. So this is Google Chrome version 48. Assumption is they put new versions of Google Chrome out, they'll enhance this.